I'm on a journey of making my own robot arm, but the question I want to answer is what is the simplest and cheapest way that we can do it to have a minimum viable product so it makes it as accessible as possible to everyone who wants to do it at home, like me, and hopefully a lot of you watching. It all starts with a few joints that can move together in harmony, or maybe not really harmony when you're just starting out, but we can get there, and there lies the fun. If you look up 3D arms online, obviously there's a lot of options out there, and most of them will be a lot easier to get into than what we're doing here, but they're usually out of the accessible price range, especially because they can actually be used in factories or by companies. And even the ones that seem to be geared towards students or enthusiasts can still be a little bit expensive. So I just want to see, can we just do it at home? And I believe we have all the parts to make it happen in this video. I think it's a great project to get started with because you can start with whatever you have in your house and slowly upgrade different aspects of it and really see the way that you can progress and make this more and more useful. So in my previous video, I tried to make a robot arm with carton. I tried to upgrade it to little plastic bits that I had around the house, but it wasn't really giving what it was meant to be giving. So I thought it's time to allocate part of the budget to the actual arm part. I just got my very first 3D parts delivered in the mail and I got a little bit excited about it. It's time! But I stand by it. It's like the coolest thing ever. I had files and they are now pieces in my house that I can use to build robots, and I am so excited to do it. So let's take a look. I just started putting together a few of the joints just to get a feel of how it works. I still have a few components that have to come together, but the end result will look like this. This is called the Grippy Bot. It's just a random example. I found an open source file of this online that had a 3D printing model in it, so I was able to download the files and get them into my hands. I don't have a 3D printer myself, so I sent it off to a 3D printing service, which is also, first time I get to say this ever, the sponsor of this video. Sounded very YouTuber-y, didn't it? PCBWay reached out and offered to print some stuff for me so they can support my robotics projects, which I think is awesome. They're a pretty big part of the ecosystem. They do a lot of PCB boards and CNF and other things that I don't know much about yet, to be honest, but we'll get there. But for me, the most important part is that they do 3D printing. So I sent them the files for this Grippy that I just found online, again, for free. And I put them into the calculator that they had. I chose the colors, obviously, and a few things like the materials you want to build it out of, and then they just printed it and sent it to my house, and that's where we are now. Thank you PCBWay for printing this for me and letting me try it out, and I look forward to getting more stuff printed in the future. So how this works is they have these spaces where the very classic, very cheap servomotors can be inserted, so you can kind of put them in and then connect the next part over. They have these holes where your actual servo part will poke out, and then you're able to clip one of these parts on top of it. These just come with the servomotors. They have these multiple faces that you can put on, and they also have these little tiny screws in the back that you can use for extra stability. So you can see how they just connect on top of each other, and then only the little top hat of the servomotor will poke out, which allows the joints to move very smoothly and very harmoniously. Obviously, I can still control these like I would in my previous videos. And now I have multiple degrees of movement, but as you can tell, they're still quite twitchy, which we've experienced in previous videos. And it's time to also fix that part. So let's break it down. For this robot arm, as well as for all robotics projects, you will have multiple components and multiple fields pretty much working together. You have the software, you have the hardware, you have the actual 3D printed or whatever other physical components you have, and they all have to match and build on each other's strengths. So on one hand, we have the software that we've seen can run on a microprocessor or microcontroller. This can be C++, this can be Python, MicroPython. You can make the code more efficient. You can have external libraries. So there's a lot of areas to play with in that arena. Then the actual hardware that controls things, we can have an Arduino, a Raspberry, microcontroller, microprocessor, an extra server driver. There's a lot of things that we can control there in terms of how much compute power and how good of an experience that's going to be. And then finally, we have the parts of the robots, which can be different materials that you have around your house put together with tape, or they can be a full design 3D print. It can be an actual robot that you don't even see the cables or the servomotor parts, so on and so forth. beginning with these servo motors. These are SG90s. They're the cheapest and the most accessible on the market. They are about $1 a piece, maybe less or more depending on where you get them from. And you can usually get them in packs of 5s or 10s or however many. So you just have them around the house for different projects. Like I said, they come with the little hats and they can be controlled with just 3 cables, power, ground, and the actual connection that you can assign to your board. We've seen that in previous videos, so we're not going to go into very big detail. Then we have your actual microcontroller and your breadboard that you can connect all your components into. And we have potentiometers that we're using to control the different joints and servo motors. You can also control these via code or pre-programming them, so you don't really need them. I got these from a kit, so you can get a lot of components together, also some of these cables that you're going to need, or you can just purchase each parts independently, but the costs for these are, again, very small. The thing that might cost the most money is the actual microcontroller or processor. I first tried it out on the Arduino Uno, and I'm now building with my Raspberry Pi Pico. This one is even tinier, it works with Python, which I prefer, and it is even cheaper. We have other components here like a battery to give us a little bit of extra power. This is not the most optimal way to do it, I know that. This is not the video for optimal and most enhanced build. This is the video for simple, cheap stuff and going with your intuition and vibes. To the debugging workbench. Right, so first of all, the twitching is driving me insane. All this crazy moving back and forth is a little bit ridiculous. I do think the issue may actually be with the potentiometer input. So when I work with just a few of them, it does seem that the model and the project seems to handle it a little bit better. But when I've added more servo motors together, I think the twitchiness gets worse and maybe the project is just kind of having a hard time processing all the numbers that come in from the potentiometers. Or maybe they're just not accurate enough. So to do a little bit of a sanity check, I'm going to take this apart and I'm going to first test each servo motor one by one. So when I take them apart and I try to first of all see the range, like how much movement can they go back and forth, I notice that there's not any twitching. Even if I list all my servos and go through them one by one and try to control them, they're working pretty neatly. I think the fact that I'm trying to control all of them together at the same time, and they're continuously trying to listen in on the potentiometer signal, and the potentiometer itself, if you look at the print values, isn't fully consistent. There's a little bit of noise and variability that I don't think the servo motor is dealing very well with, thus all the twitching. So I'm just going to remove them. Just take them out. I don't feel like I want to bother with putting in like a noise gate for how much you should actually listen to and how different the position should be before you move. That's a lot of work. This is meant to be a very simple project. So no more potentiometers. Let's just test if I can control them all via code correctly. So we're making a list. We're going through each of the servo motors and we're assigning them a few different angles just to see how they react. And this proves to be a lot simpler. So this is what we're going to do going forward. And then I tinkered a little bit with what are the specific angles that I would need to, say, grab a box. Because what are you going to do with a robot arm if not grab a box? Then I thought about it some more and I figured with how unstable the skeleton seems to be without counterweight, I'm not sure grabbing anything heavy will really help with the whole, standing upright without collapsing part of the project, which I'm quite fond of myself. So instead, we went for something a little bit lighter. Yes, the infamous robotics challenge, lifting the tissue. And even this, I'll be honest, took a little bit of work, a little bit of trial and error, a little bit of back and forth and experimenting, but we got there in the end. And I was very proud of my little robot baby for lifting the tissue. Fresh back from the engineering workbench, what did we learn today? First of all, the assembly was a little bit more difficult than I was expecting, and I think that's because most videos seem to skip over that part because it's not very glamorous. I'll see how much of it I actually include, but I do want to make it clear that it does take a bit of time to tinker with and to figure out. It looks pretty clear and intuitive, and I thought I'll just get it out of the box and I'll make it work. But it is very many hours later for me to figure out exactly how each piece fits into the 3D printed model because the site didn't come with any instructions. And it took me disassembling a servo motor and figuring out how a gearbox works, breaking a nail, breaking half of the lamp on my camera, and spending a lot of time screwing and unscrewing things in place. Don't doubling down on this. Don't open your servo motors. Just don't do it. If you're curious what it looks like on the inside, you've got me for that. Here we go. These pins are disturbingly long and the gears are very, very oily. And once you take them apart, you're not putting them together again. This is why they cost $1, because they're not meant to be tinkered with this way. So if you've ever had the urge to open it and look inside, here you go. I'm here to satisfy your weird curiosities, but don't do it yourself. Pretty dumb mistake to make, but I'm here to share those as well, not just the success stories. This was not a very smooth assembly on my part, but we made it, which makes me all that much more proud of this little baby of mine that is actually working and running and can be controlled. I think the best skill you can have going into robotics is testing. It takes a lot of patience to try out all the different things and really stretch them through their range and try out a few edge cases and see which of the things is actually making your whole project not work. And we have a robot arm. Let's go again and go. Ah. Yes! I am so proud of you. Drop, drop, go up. Yes! Oh my goodness. That may not have seemed very impressive, but that was my blood, sweat, and tears. And I am so, so proud of my baby robot arm. And I will hear no slander against him. Here we go. I would like to thank MicroPython for being a little bit easier than C++ to write in. I would like to thank directly programming commands for being much more reliable than potentiometers, which suck. I would like to thank the fact that you can order more servo motors on Amazon when you mistakenly take yours apart and they no longer work. And I would like to thank the open source community for making this 3D print available. And once again, PCBWay for printing it for me and sending it to me. Thank you guys very much for making this possible. My first robot arm baby that can grab an entire tissue off a table. I'm so proud. They grow up so fast. But seriously, all jokes aside, that was a lot of progress in the robot arm project. Next time, we're going to be playing with the big leagues. We're going to get a 3D print of Le Robot and install the much more better performing software that comes with it, play with some models and data from Hugging Face and some deep learning models, and do some actual intelligent stuff rather than hard coding different movements like we've done today. But we now understand the work that it takes, so I think we're going to appreciate and enjoy every step of the way much more. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe and comment so that I can keep doing this and the algorithm likes me. Don't forget. Thank you. See you next video.